Welcome, friends, gamers, and other enthusiasts to the BoydofZINJ channel. I hope you enjoy your time here and the video. Please like, subscribe, do all the bell icons, and comment. It really does help small content creators like myself and others by doing so. If you click on the notifications, it may even let others and the YouTube gods know that they may enjoy these videos. With that being said, let's play. Mechabellum. All right, these are matches for August 9th, Wednesday. Unfortunately, these are terrible times for me to join these tournaments. Otherwise, I would. It's too late at night, and the other one is I'm working still. The other one, I'm still up, but I'm doing other stuff at that time. All right, let's get into it. Now, the one thing I've been pondering about Mechabellum is why am I losing? I know more or less how to play the game, and I've got ideas. The biggest thing think I'm doing wrong is I'm always reacting. I need to make people react to me. And sometimes it's a necessary thing to do, and other times it's not. Now, starting units. Low HP is always terrible, but all these are high HP. I'm going with Elite Specialist. Elite Specialist is goofy. First round, you can only pick one unit for the most part, unless you burn the midnight oil, which you shouldn't, or you sell a unit, which you probably shouldn't. But I really like these starting units: arc lights and sledgehammers. Now, sledgehammers are the tanks, but they both go at the exact same speed. And then of course you should always check the enemy units' compositions. Now, I have good shaft and fodder kills, and they have marks, balls. And sledgehammers are average against balls. Arc lights are below average against balls, but really great against fodder killer. So, in this case, I can only buy one unit, and I decide to buy fangs. I was thinking about marksman, but a single marksman is not going to help. With fangs, the advantage about fangs fodder units is a ball has spent lots of time killing individual units, so they're terrible against units. And since fangs also can shoot back, they'll get a few hits before they even get pounced on by the ball. At least in theory, right? And again, since the tanks are the way how I want most tanks, sledgehammers, is to be the quote unquote the tanks, the meat. I want to have them hit first, and I'm going vertical for two reasons. One, to give the arc light some room in the middle to play around with, and two, they won't be all hitting the same target, and three, the enemy balls will probably concentrate on a single sledgehammer, giving them a higher probability of killing multiple steel balls. In theory, right? Look at the left. Notice how they all aim for the same sledgehammer, and while the other sledgehammers are constantly pounding away. That does mean that sledgehammer dies, but not that much of a difference in speed against balls. Now the left is going. The right isn't doing well. And let's face it, these units pretty much countered almost everything I did except the fangs. But it was just a single fang. This is going to be an uphill battle. But again, if you remember, I had extra points, so losing the first round or two isn't bad. Subsidized Mustang seems like a good choice. Now it's 250, so for me to unlock it would be 50, so I would only have 50. I decided to unlock a free unit instead, the marksman. But I purchased 2 additional fang units. I get a third one, and I'm deciding what unit do I need. Do I need more shaft killing? No. Do I need more fodder? I should have enough. So I just go for marksman. And I was going to have one. I was debating about the middle, but I go right. We almost won right, so let's reinforce right a wee bit. Now, of course, I now see what the enemy's putting in. The most vulnerable time for me is the side. The bad thing about the lead card that I picked is even though I have more points, and so I lost the first round, so I'm still ahead in points, is the first 3 to 4 rounds, you're always kind of running behind on the number of points. So you can get overwhelmed in some cases. Which is, even though I picked up 3 units, I'm technically behind a unit potential, right? So I'm actually doing pretty good in my opinion. I'm minus 1 unit from the previous round, but I picked up 3, so I'm average in the number of units I should have. Okay, so this person looked like he got another group balls and some air units. But I only have the one marksman shooting up, so that doesn't bode well. Now, I do remember I got subsidized Mustang, but I'm not going to be able to use it until next round at the earliest. The left side looks like it's won. The right side, even though I have that extra unit, is facing those wasps. But luckily, my tanks are doing exactly what they're supposed to. They're absorbing shots. The wasps are being distracted, and that single marksman is making up his weights in latinum. Yes, Deep Space Nine inside joke. All right. Amplified core is really good, but it's 100 points. Giant Hunter, well, there's no giants. I unlock Mustangs, and I put on the classic sides. I like putting in 3 to the side and 3 down from each tower. For those who are new to this channel, I always like putting Mustangs in either round 2 or round 3 to the sides. And I do it 3 to the side and 3 down from the towers. So that way, if I get flanked on either the left or right side, they have a high probability of engaging those flanked units. And Mustangs, especially level 2 Mustangs in this case, are strong enough that they should be able to deal with most flanked units except for giants or something really weird or a really large number of objects. So the center has failed, but I'm not regarding the center. The right side is looking good. The left side is looking excellent as well. Actually, the left side's falling. It's primarily because the center went about a quarter to the right and mostly 3/4 left. So I'm rushing. The poor, I have 2 rebellious units who are doing their own thing. I lose a tower, which is bad, but again, balls are shooting individual targets. But again, I had a tower debuff and just not enough units. I'm going to lose. And having those 2 units split off, the one Mustang doesn't matter. That one single arc light could have made a difference if it was with the group, perhaps. Arc lights do splash damage, which is in this situation, but it fires pretty fast. Oh well, nothing I can do about it. Point wise, I'm still ahead after this. I'm still ahead, so yeah, I'm okay. I'm debating about the nuke. Full-time missions would be much easier. His units are fast, so it'd be hard to catch them in the nuke. And the nuke would be mostly on my side anyways. Now I'm going with Phoenix. And now I was debating, how do I counter all those balls, right? And again, this goes back to the problem I've been having. I've been trying to just counter stuff. So I'm jumping the ball. I'm doing this for 2 reasons. In my opinion, the Phoenix does 2 situations. The enemy has to have a unit that shoots up. The enemy doesn't have a unit that shoots up the, my Phoenix's reign supreme. Likewise, the Phoenix does really great single target damage. And there's two of them. So slightly better than Marksman. And as a result, I can kill balls easier. Now, I have to be careful. The enemy does have that Seagull level 3 Marksman, which will shoot down the Phoenix. Likewise, there's the Wasps. But the balls are dying faster, and that's primarily because the Phoenixes, which are level 2 Phoenix, are shooting them down. The right side has one, the left side's still trying to win. Now there's Tower Debuff wins. And again, the Phoenix made a big difference. It's countering, and now the enemy has to counter me. So I'm taking the initiative, and this is the reason why I've been losing, in my opinion, in the previous games, is that I'm not jumping ahead in the guessing game. Now, I need these tanks to take hits. So I leveled the tanks, the sledgehammers, which will give them extra hit points, do a little extra damage. But I also gave them extra hit points, and they absorb extra damage, so they don't receive as much damage. So these sledgehammers, and I probably should have bought another sledgehammer, but these sledgehammers are the linchpin to my defense. They're the ones who are going to hold out. I'm putting these Phoenix to the back. I want them to enter the battle late, so that way they can react to anything that's already on the field. The enemy tries to jump the gun again, and it's going to be forcing my hand by going with the Fortress. That's a good move because, you know, Fortress takes a lot to kill, but the Fortress is so far in the back. Now the Fortress does have the air attack. I personally don't like it, but it does do average damage against the Phoenix. And again, every turn he spans is killing a Phoenix. But I have no great single point clear against a Fortress yet. I need either balls of my own or maybe a Marksman. Alternatively, one of the reasons I'm also losing is I'm not clearing enough of his fodder fast enough. And since my forces haven't been charging forward, I decided to use this moderately forward. Melting Point would be a great counter to his the enemy's Fortress. Now, not this round, but the previous round, I also picked up tank production. Any units that are spawned will take any upgrades that I have on the field. I have Sledgehammer upgraded to be extra defensive with armor. So even though the tank production will only produce level 1 units, they'll have the added armor buff upgrade on them. I also give the melting points extended range. Again, the melting points most, advantage is, sorry, that was loud, is offense. Now these steel balls were beefy, but again, melting points are really good about killing them. Unfortunately, my melting point's looking too much to the left. The right was holding off well. The tower debuff is hurting them. The left failed. Center was okay. The center melting point could have made a difference if the left held. So I'm thinking barrier, parasitic camel. Melting points don't have barriers. Having a permanent barrier would be useful. Even though, putting a shield is also 100, it's a shield that will always remain as long as the unit is there. Now, I'm giving these melting points the ability to shoot against 5 targets. It decreases the range, which is terrible. However, I'm being swarmed by targets. So being able to kill multiple targets is the key. Of course, it's expensive. You know, multiple upgrades on a single unit becomes more and more expensive. Not only do you pay the additional cost, but you also pay a penalty for each additional previous upgrade that there has been. I do not want to spend the midnight oil and get extra funds because that'll hurt your economy in the future. So I'm avoiding that. I see here that the sledgehammers could be upgraded to the right, but I don't have the money. And the enemy keeps on adding additional units. So I'm hoping that me being able to kill multiple units with these melting points will make the difference. Losing those fangs could hurt. So I'm already attacking. You know, I do have range, and the range still isn't bad. And one of the beams starts hitting the fortress, so that's good. And look, I'm hitting multiple balls, and the fortress is dead. And I'm even helping on the right side, and it goes down. But I was helping on the center, I was helping the right, I even helped the left a little bit. And because I was helping on the left, this melting point is able to take care of most of the left. Now I'm being swarmed, but again, the one thing that's going to keep me in this game is I start off with a large number of hit points on my trading cards. And because of that, I could take a few losses. Now I'm at the danger zone. I decided to get parasitic ammo. Every unit I can kill will cause them to have a unit. And I decided to give it to the right side. I probably should have given it to the left side, but such is fate. This is the way how I'm rolling. And the reason why I was thinking about giving it to the left side is if I upgrade it, it'll kill units even faster. But I don't have the money to upgrade it. And the left side was faltering more. I bought an extra Phoenix to reinforce the right side. And I see here I also have this armor ability. And I know the right side was faltering, but I don't want to completely forget about the left either. So let's see what the enemy does. That center missile really does nothing. It slows the enemy a little bit, but is it worth it? I start hitting the center with a single beam, and the melting point in the middle is helping to the left. The right side looks good. The left side is in trouble, but the beams are killing them. Now I have multiple beams on the fortress in the middle. The left side looks like it's cleared. The right side's still in danger, but it's holding. In fact, the center one keeps on spawning, the center melting point keeps on spawning additional tanks. And each of those tanks also gives me extra points. So the person is taking a little extra damage by losing. All right, round 9 is beginning. Which card to pick? I'm thinking charge ammo, underground threat. So I pick charge ammo, pick up an extra melting point. Now I'm going to give it to the new melting point. Maybe I should give it to an existing one that I'm upgrading. So I upgraded the existing melting points. And I noticed I keep on losing to that single missile. And I want my fodder units in the front. So I'm using shields to protect the fodder units. And the shield will also absorb some damage. And I'm thinking, should I upgrade these units? Here's the thing. Upgrading them is always nice. They do extra damage. They take a little more extra hits to destroy. But are they critical? You know, dollars saved or a new unit. Sure, I could have upgraded, those units. But Will I get more value if I purchase a level 2 Phoenix instead? I think a level 2 Phoenix would offer me more value than upgrading existing units. I only have 50 to spend. And I'm just going to throw a missile off to the side. Now my melting point to the right has locked on. The barrier, destroyed the barrier. Going for balls mostly. That new melting point has created several parasitic crawlers. It doesn't create crawlers from air units. I have multiple balls hitting the target in the middle. This looks like a win. The left side has actually lost. But the middle and right side was so powerful that it didn't really matter. If the game would last beyond this, I would have had to reinforce the left side. All right, next match. Now this match was a frustrating one to me. I think I played too easy. I don't know. Let's find out. All right, let's see what happens. Let's pick a card. And I'm not sure why, but the game seems to have lagged up a little bit. Well, that was strange. Regardless. So, Elite Specialist is a good choice. Rhino Specialist, and I go with the Elite Specialist. It's a high initial HP, not the best, but I like the Mustangs. Crawlers are decent. I'm thinking, without knowing anything, Marksman would be my third choice. All right, so let's take a look. Enemy has Marksman, a level 3 Marksman, and Crawlers. Actually, I think it was Fangs and Arc Lights. Again, Mustangs, I like putting at least the first group that I get 3 to the side and 3 down from the tower. Now, Arc Lights have the same speed as Crawlers, so I'm going to use that to my advantage here. I'm just positioning them in places I want them, and they'll be hitting at roughly the same time as the Crawlers. And I want the one in the middle to come a little later than the primary, than the side Crawlers. I'm thinking Marksman, but I can only get one, so I'm just going to reinforce the side, or reinforce one tower. The only thing I'm thinking about is, should I have gone an extra fodder unit? I was mistaken. I thought he had Mustangs. He had actually missiles, artillery, the Stormcaller, sorry. I'm also working from home, so I'm getting a little distracted. Right side's doing well, but it had a Marksman. Middle, average, because, I really only count the side. But I lose it completely. So, we're now even points. Like I said, the first round, it's a 50-50, and it's almost guaranteed to go against Elite. I like skipping the third one when I'm not Elite. But having that third, being able to deploy 3 at any time, even a fourth, if I have enough funds, is critical, especially as an Elite. So I decided to get an extra Marksman, one Marksman, and I still need fodder. So I decided to get Fangs. I call them fodder. I consider them more like infantry units. I consider Crawlers to be light cavalry and Fangs to be infantry units. They're not designed to win battles. They're designed to plug areas or hold off the enemy until the big guns show up. Okay, looking good on the right. The left side's could do a little better. I took out his marksman. Left side has failed. Right side's failed. So doing terrible so far. I'm losing. So I'm thinking I need to do something. Incendiary bomb's good. Sometimes Mustangs is also my next option. I want to clear off his tanks. I'm judging his Stormcrawlers to be the threat. Plus, the chances of him or my enemy protecting the middle with shields is low. This should also destroy his marksman, which is also a big threat. I put shields, even though this early, it's costly, but you know, if I have the possibility of getting napalm, the enemy has too. And I decide I need a little bit more. I have enough fodder on the field, and the enemy doesn't have fodder, so I don't need more fodder clear. I need more direct fire. So I decided to go with extra marksmen. They were cheap because remember, I was thinking Phoenix, but I spent the extra money on shields, and I'm also elite. The enemy went with sledgehammer to the side, and look at the middle. The marksman, level 3 marksman, is stuck in the fire. Marksman had low hit points, died. I didn't notice this at the time, but there's also an arc light in the middle, level 2 arc light. The left side's doing slightly better than the right side, but I also destroyed more of units. This is probably going to be a win for me. Left side has 1, right side 1. Now, this win was primarily because I took out the middle forces. Range specialist is a strong possibility. I was also thinking about orbital, but I was also thinking the enemy does not have their units clumped up in one specific area, so it wouldn't be too effective, and range is always effective. Since I didn't lose the shields, I have additional shields. Now I'm debating about what to do. I was in hindsight, I should have gone Phoenix, but I decided to go for extra marksman. I want more single target damage, and getting more of one thing isn't necessarily a bad thing. This lets me, anytime I put a upgrade on these, it'll affect multiple units, right? But it's a single unit, a single attack. The enemy puts extra damage on the arc light. I'm not sure that's a great idea. You know, the arc lights aren't doing damage, and lots of them are dying early, so their survivability is iffy. That marksman in the middle is a pain, but what can you do about it? Right side's doing well. The left side still has a shield, which is even better. Right side looks like it's probably going to win. The left side lost a shield though. Another win. Now these wins are wins, which is always good, but they're not critical wins yet. All these are good. I'm actually looking at the improved fortress as well, but I decided to get the orbital javelin. Again, these stormcrawlers, the artillery units, are troublesome, and I can kill 3 birds with 1 stone. I decided to go Phoenix. Again, I've been thinking I should be gaining some air. The enemy doesn't have very many high units. And I noticed too that the problem that I'm having in the middle is I don't have any fodder that's standing out in the middle. So I'm thinking, well, I can't quite afford another Phoenix, and I'm not sure another marksman will do anything. Actually, I get crawlers, but these are level 2 crawlers, and I want them back. I took out 3 units with that one special ability. It's a temporary band-aid, but still, temporary band-aid is better than no band-aid, right? Left side's doing good. Right side looks like it's faltering. Right side has faltered. Left side won. Can I win? It's a possibility. It's a strong possibility. The disadvantage is the enemy only has 1 unit that could shoot up, and, well, it was able to shoot up and take out the tower and shoot up, so yes, I lost. But it was only a single unit, so minor loss at best. I decided to skip. I did not. Barrier is a really good ability, but I'm not doing heavy right now. I've been neglecting my upgrades. I decided to get Elite. I could have got a range upgrade, which is great, but Elite does 2 things. 1, it does give them range. 2, it gives them extra damage. And the range is also improved based on their level. And most of my marksmen are now at level 3, and maybe I think I may even have a level 4. So the range is actually pretty good for Elite. It's not as great as getting the maximum range, and I can still get the maximum range. Now the enemy had the fodder. It says, oh, that's actually something I've been getting a lot of single point clearance, not fodder clearance. So this is actually a disadvantage to me. But let's see what happens. Luckily I had a missile in the middle, so I took out most of the fodder in the middle. That extra fodder is giving my enemy the ability to come at me stronger. I don't have enough fodder clearance to clear out their hordes, and it's costing me. That's the one single thing that cost me. That one neglection of duty. What's the easy way to get rid of fodder? Vulcans. I'm looking at how much points I have. Oh, I also have the napalm. And again, what's a good way of clearing out fodder? Napalm, fire. And I want to make sure you take out that level 3 marksman in the middle. And I want to get, hopefully, the Stormcrawlers to the left. I drop down of the Vulcan. I know that special ability Vulcan will get whatever special abilities I get. And I also know that the right side was having the trouble. I cancel out the Vulcan, and I'm going to put it on the left side. This would be, what if I had a Vulcan? And I give myself, I can only afford a single additional unit, so I decided to get an arc light. Fire in the middle, Vulcan to the right, Vulcan to the left. It's level 1 Vulcan though. My Vulcan to the right dies, but that's fine. It cleared out the fodder, which is exactly what I needed to secure the right side. The left side is also doing well for the exact same reason as well. I was able to clear out the fodder fast enough. Unfortunately, that special ability was a one-time ability. Now, barrier is useful here. I could put it on a Vulcan, which will never have barrier, and the barrier shields will appear. Of course, the left side needs it. Okay, so this should. I decided to give them regular shields. All right, and then I'm thinking middle needs a Vulcan as well. All right, and I also give the middle some Fang units. The enemy countered by giving them Fortress. That's a good counter. I should have thought about that ahead of time. Instead of that Vulcan in the middle, perhaps I should have countered with melting points or even steel balls. Or maybe extra units of Phoenix. I destroyed all the fortresses are gone. I lose all the Vulcans, but there's still a lot of tanks. Is it enough to clear and secure victory? It's going to be close. Right side looks like it's doing good. Left side faltering. I lose the tower on the left side. Doesn't look good. I lose the tower on my right side, and there's gain. At least a round. Tank production's useful. Improved melting point, perhaps. Magnetic blast, possibly. I get melting points. I only have 50 credits left. I also give shields. And I'm going to go after either Orbital Javelin. I'm deciding where do I can cause the most damage and have it. And the lowest probability of getting shields. Or I choose here. Destroy the Stormcallers and perhaps a few other units as well. That's it. And I have nothing to counter these fortresses. Except the melting points. Let's hope it's enough. If I can survive one more round, I can get more. I can get enough melting points to win. I believe so. But the problem is, I need to survive a round. I don't. It's going to be a tough round. My enemy is taking their time. Nothing wrong with taking their time. Melting point. Lock onto the fortress. Great. Destroy both fortresses to the sides, but there's still the fortress in the middle. All my Vulcan, or my middle Vulcan is gone. The fortress to the side severely hurt. Right side has one. But there's fire on the ground hurting my Vulcan primarily. My melting point is doing work, but I lose my left melting point, so it's up to the right side now. I take the tower. It's a good chance I'll win, but it won't be enough to win the game. And my tower is still in danger. It's a win. But I don't win the game yet. Round 10. Parasitic ammo, good choice. Junior manufacturing specialist, I don't see it as necessary. I just grabbed parasitic ammo. The other two did seem worth it at this point of the game. I'm debating who to give it to. I decided to give it to the melting point. I level up that melting point. And I know the center needs help. I think this is a mistake. If I had to do it over, I think I would have got range, but maybe it's not a mistake. That ability I got gives the ability for melting points to also heal itself, and does give the melting point extra hit points. So it might be useful, but Range is also very useful. It's one of those tricky things. I made a command decision. That's the upgrade I picked. Should I have gotten range instead? Let me know in the comments. Additional fortress. Also, enemy in the background. I lock out the fortress in the middle and both sides. That's good so far. The fortress is still alive, but all my melting points are still alive. I lock onto the melting point fortress, it dies. My melting point in the center and left dies. My melting point to the right is living. The one nice thing is that's the one that has a parasitic ammo, so every kill it does, it's going to cause, that's ground kills, will cause additional crawlers to appear. If it kills an air unit, parasitic crawlers do not appear. This looks like a win, and may even close out the game. Yep, I believe this is... Oh, I'm mistaken. Person lives by 91. Guess I can't count. Smoke bombs, moderately useful. I decided to go with the photon emissions. Again, I've been noticing this person does not protect their center. And I can kill lots of valuable units with this fire, and it won't affect my units. This Vulcan is a free Vulcan, and I'm deciding to put it in the back a little bit. That way, if there's any residual fodder, hopefully the Vulcan will protect it. Will protect it. I also pick up an upgrade where Vulcans will spawn additional marksmen based on their level, and I get an extra multi-point, and that special ability Vulcan, you know, in my rear will also spawn a marksman. Level 1 marksman, but hey, an extra unit is still an extra unit, and marksmen do have upgrades. So it'll also have upgrades. I'm debating about where I should put the defensive ability. I said, these units should get it. Maybe I should go on to the one to the right. I upgrade marksman. Because again, every upgrade for a marksman does a few things. Gives them a little extra hit points, minor. It gives them extra damage, major. But the elite ability gives them either further range and further damage. My melting point takes care of all the enemy fortresses already. Why am I winning this match? Even though I reacted to lots of the person's abilities, I saw lots of obvious holes in my enemy that I exploited time and time again. That napalm fire, that one ability, I did it repeatedly, and look how often it paid in victory, right? So I've been thinking about why I've been losing, right? One, I'm not taking initiative enough. Two, and yes, that's my real cat Sally. Two, you have to do something that jumps making them react to you. But three, you have to react to their problems as well. And you notice I kept on saying this person seems to have some valuable units in the middle and never seemed to put any type of shields or defenses around it. So my special abilities kept on hitting the middle. Likewise, the unit had, you know, a bunch of fodder units that kept on getting affected by Vulcans. Vulcans actually have a weak point. They're weak against barriers. So if the person spent a little extra money on putting barriers, would have completely changed the dynamic of the game. You know, and the other thing I did too is I countered his counter with the his fortress with the melting point, and I've mentioned this before. Giant units are great, but giant units need to be supported. Each of those fortresses could have lived if there was at least one unit of crawlers or one unit of fangs in front of them, or even an arc light, something to support them. It would have completely changed the game, and those fortresses could have possibly won them the game. And if you notice on my side, I kept on putting the fortresses either right next to units that would surpass them, or I would put a unit in front of them on purpose to support my giant units. All right, next match. I'm waiting. I made several mistakes on this match. Let's take a look. Now, let's pick a card first. Elite Specialist has been doing good, but it's only 4,400 points. Rhino Specialist looks nice. I'm debating. I decide go Rhino Specialist. If I don't like the Rhino, I could always sell it. It's a free unit. So I have Balls and Fang, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Fang. I see that I have Fodder, which is the Fang. I have single point kill, which is Fodder. Which is the Steel Balls. So I decided to go with Marksman. And I'm going north-south with the Marksman. With the Steel Balls, I'm sorry. Why? When you position them like this and they hit the target for the first time, it's a high probability that they'll some to the left, some to the right, and hopefully lock onto different targets. Then locking onto multiple targets give them a higher probability of killing stuff faster. Locking onto a single target doesn't kill them significantly that much faster. Their damage is a ramped up damage. It starts really low and it's continuous and it builds up. So a few milliseconds won't make a difference. The enemy has air units. I do have Marksman, which is one of the other reasons why I picked Marksman. So my balls are taking some brute damage, but clear off the arc lights, which is their primary responsibility, except the one to the left. The one to the left was too further out. The one to the right lane, we're doing well enough. However, we lost the left lane. And we lost the tower. This is probably, on the first round, it's kind of goofy. We gain tower too early can be a disadvantage. My single marksman can now destroy the weakened Phoenix and now the weakened Arclight. Point wise, even though it was a victory, the enemy's still ahead in points. And I'm thinking I should skip. I like to skip a round 2. That extra special ability for Rhino was tempting, but the reason I like to skip on round 2 is I like to get Mustangs on round 2. Mustangs are numerous units, so they kind of act as fodder. They're really good against anti-air. The enemy has Phoenix and kills fodder decently well. Now they're kind of weak against arc lights, and I always put my Mustangs in a 3 to the side, 3 down. And this is one of the reasons why I like getting Mustangs, right? If the enemy flanks, the Mustangs have a high probability of engaging them and hopefully kill them, maybe not. In this case, the enemy countered with a big Rhino, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to kill the Rhino before Rhino gets tower. Now my left side did well. My right side failed primarily because of that Rhino. It's still a victory though. Now I'm having a small lead. Laser sight's good. Spy specialist pays its weight in gold. I get a free rhino. What's the best way of countering a level 1 rhino? A level 2 rhino. And I put it back just so that way if I need to throw a unit in front of it, I had a chance to throw a unit in front of it. I also move it forward a little bit so that way if I need to put a unit to the south of it, I could. You know, again, you don't want to put yourself at the extreme edges all the time because now you don't have any way to react if let's say you put 3 rhinos to the side or a ship and it's man only have had fodder units to delay the other stuff. You could do all sorts of stuff if you give yourself space, in my opinion. Going to the extreme edges costs you more than it does not. I also get steel balls of my own, and I debated for a little bit to put it somewhere. I decided to put them only one steel ball all the way to the far left, just in case the enemy put something like a rhino to the far left. And of course, I have both Mustangs and a level 2 rhino fighting a level 1 rhino, so my side was secured. Enemy went heavy in Phoenix, but I have both marksmen and Mustangs, right? So those Phoenix are kind of nullified. And sure enough, the left side's suffering a little bit more, but my right side also has that additional rhino. The left side also had steel balls, but steel balls aren't doing great in this situation. Vulcan's Descent, range specialist. Range specialist is better. This will help me all the time, and every type of unit I have except that one rhino needs range. So it's a win-win. And maybe crawlers. Crawlers don't need range, but I sometimes like getting a single unit of crawlers and putting them all the way to the back. That way they can come in late and hopefully get a few kills, and then I give them the upgrade where if the crawlers do get kills, they start multiplying. Again, extra marksman. Again, and spend another money and get another extra marksman. I don't want the marksman to be going to the rhino. I already know the rhino's been taken care of. So my goal is to put the marksman in such a position where it'll travel forward, not backwards. I don't want that one enemy rhino to delay my marksman and helping out the right side. And I put the marksmen also on the wings. The enemy sold off the flanking rhino, which was good for the enemy. The enemy's smart. That was a good call for the enemy. It was a pointless. So my rhino is free to help out the main field, and it rushes forward, absorbs lots of shots that are meant for my main forces. So I'm doing good. It seems like I'm making all the right choices. How do I go wrong from here? So far it's flawless on the score. The enemy's reaching, the 50% point. Subsidized crawlers, and I go for orbital strike and start upgrading some of my units. Now I'm thinking to myself, what do I need to do to make sure I stay in the game? So I already have 3 units of steel balls. If the steel balls die, they'll create crawlers. And I also have that ability from my crawlers that any crawler kills that the crawlers get, they'll also get additional crawlers. Now, I think this is my mistake. I think this is what cost me the game. I decided to get 2 units of crawlers. Why? I'm thinking that the enemy doesn't have enough clear for fodder units. So these units will come in. I'm getting range for the marksman. That's a good one. The crawlers will come in and clear out units and multiply and make themselves do more new ones. Now the enemy, again, and this is a smart enemy, the enemy countered, even without knowing it, all those crawlers by getting stormcrawlers that put fire. Looks like that this is a clear victory. I'm feeling overconfident at the time. And because of that, I'm going to make mistakes that I shouldn't have. So getting those crawlers was a mistake, but it wasn't a costly mistake. I get, you know what? Let's decide. The enemy doesn't have very many up-firing abilities. So I decided, you know what? Let's get overlords. And then I also got the special ability where I can get an overlord call duty. And I decided I'm not being too aggressive with the overlords. The whatchamacallit, enemy marksmen can kill the overlords. I'm thinking, should I flank with this overlord? It could technically flank or use it to support my troops. Because I don't have enough money to get any upgrades, so it's just going to be an extra overlord. I said, you know, I'm doing good. Let it just help my units. And I have 50 extra credits, so I decided to upgrade a marksman. Now, my enemy keeps on giving additional sledgehammers and giving them multiple upgrades. I didn't catch that. So these sledgehammers are now very tanky and now slowly heal. Now, sledgehammers don't fire up. If I was smart, I would have bought the field override and start selling some of those worthless units I have to get extra money so I can afford upgrades. And because of one simple upgrade, that fire upgrade on the enemy's stormcrawlers, the enemy's artillery units, is killing so many of my fodder units that the enemy is able to swoop down and clear us. I know I need to do something, so I get nuclear. I go nuclear. I think this is a mistake. I also decided to get a melting point. If I had to do this round over, I would not have gotten a melting point and saved the money and got upgrades. You know, perhaps I should have got upgrades for my overlords. Maybe make them motherships and give them ability to spam wasps. And maybe even bought some wasps to give them additional upgrades. So I buy 2 melting points. Give them the range upgrade. The range upgrade is always useful, but it's a single range. Now the enemy gets the nuclear, you know, goes nuclear as well. So the melting point is doing well. The nuclear, in retrospect, it was okay. But again, I could have used shields to protect myself perhaps. My left side completely falters. Their right side's pretty much gone. But the enemy has so much overwhelming phoenixes, it really doesn't matter. And now my lead's dwindling away and I'm at the red alert zone. In fact, I'm now below the enemy. The enemy has slightly more points. Senior attack specialist is a good one. Haste is also good, but I decided to go skip. And I realize that those stormcrawlers are a problem. I need to nullify them. So I'm getting these interceptors. And I forget. And I look, okay, the enemy has 3 stormcrawlers, so I get 3 interceptors. So that should be more or less good. You know, occasional missile or 2 will still go through. And the closer my units get to the middle, the more often the missiles will go through. That's fine. I'm debating what type of upgrade do I need to win. Melting points seem to be a good choice. I'm thinking the enemy upgrades is what's killing me. So I'm thinking of getting something to nullify the upgrades. So I get out my arc lights. So that, because they do splash damage and it'll affect multiple units. Even if they don't destroy the units that get hit and the splash units that get hit will be slowed and lose their upgrades for a few moments, which can make a huge difference. being able to kill 5 units is very useful. You remember that previous game? It was the reason I won. And I'm thinking I need to kill multiple tanks. I decide to get, again, the enemy has multiple Phoenix. So some extra Mustang isn't bad, right? All right, the missiles are being held off. That's good. More of my fodder units are able to get closer to the battle. My multiple beams are doing good, but right side has failed. Middle has failed. Left side's failing. I lost a tower. This is it. Am I dead? Yes. So where did I go wrong? In the comments, you tell me what should I've done differently. Where did I make the mistake? In my opinion, I made multiple mistakes on that game, and maybe it's a cumulative effect too, right? This next battle is against someone who's pending. This person is actually not that bad, but and I see here that defeated. Makes me wonder, is this person a Smurf? Can you Smurf accounts? Can you make new accounts so that way you can fight lobies? And that's what I'm facing a lot of. Elite Specialist looks good. Heavy Armor looks really good because of the units. I go for the Heavy Armor. I like sledgehammers and I like fangs. And I like to use sledgehammers as actual tanks. Something to grunt against the enemy, and they're decent against fodder. They're decent against crawlers and fangs. And they soak up damage against marksmen. So, again, I don't see any enemy artillery, any enemy stormcrawlers, so I decided to go north-south on the sledgehammers. Again, the reason why I like going north-south when there's no artillery is tanks will tend to shoot the same object if you go sideways, east-west formation. So when they go north-south, the first one hits one, next one goes left, right, and hopefully they're picking different targets and they're offsetting each other. Arc lights, I decided to get arc lights. I was thinking marksman, I decided to go arc lights. And arc lights clear fodder really efficiently. While yes, there's a danger that the enemy could get air units, I was, at most of them 1 unit. In fact, the enemy gets a single steel ball. And luckily, the steel balls are terrible against fangs. They can kill the fangs, but they're not optimized for fangs. And this lets my units collapse against them, kill them. But the enemy's marksmen are doing wonders against my tanks. And again, arc lights and tanks soak up marksmen, so they're actually not bad against marksmen. Marksmen are not bad against. I would say below average against them. Redeployment is useful. Improved Phoenix, haste, strike. But I decided to skip. Again, I like to get Mustangs. I won. So I'm going to play it safe. So that way if I get flanked, I have a high probability of dealing with flankers. And again, if Mustangs are probably a tier S unit, right? An S tier unit. They fire against air units. They have decent clear against fodder, fangs, crawlers. They're decent against sledgehammers, mediocre against arc lights, and pretty decent against marksmen. Now the enemy goes and kills my fodder unit. So I'm thankful I have tanks to soak up the damage, and I also have these marksmen to give them more opportunities to attack as well. So the enemy spent 100 credits to get rid of my fangs, and I'm still winning. This does not bode well for the enemy. Again, The enemy is reacting to me. I'm not reacting to the enemy. And I'm doing good. Now, at this point, the enemy had more hit points, which was good for the enemy. But with all these excessive losses, I'm now ahead. I decide to go napalm. This is the biggest problem I have. However, I want to make sure that I don't affect my own units as well. And the enemy put the marksmen in the middle, so there's a high probability that the fire can get the marksmen. The marksmen have been debating. I decide I need marksmen of my own. I do need some long range, single point clear, especially if the enemy gets a strong unit, a giant or something. I decided to get a third unit. And I'm debating which one I decide to get. I decided, you know what? Let me get sledgehammers. And I decided to leave them east-west type. Why? Why not? Alright, napalm clears out most of the fodder. All the marksmen are going to napalm and have all died. This is a clear victory. Notice how the person did not even put shields. So that I get the napalm, I didn't put shields either, so I could have got napalmed as well. But I took that chance. But I also have my units very spread out, so napalm would have only affected one tower. And notice how I affected a majority of units. I got to overrule this storm. And again, I'm going for the middle because this person has put a lot of units in the middle. And I said, you know what, let me spend some extra money. And I think these missiles will hit the steel balls and severely hurt them. I decide to get crawlers. And I know, hey, this person has nothing in the flank. And it's at the 50% mark for the enemy. So if I keep the enemy guessing or keep the enemy losing, I could win. Now the enemy gets lots of upgrades. But the storm, which is hitting most of the enemy's units, is clearing out the enemy fast. That storm cost the enemy the game, or at least this round. If the enemy, because the enemy is stacking all their units in the middle, I'm able to focalize these special abilities to the middle. I'm left, right, and I even have center, so there's no one way to get everything. Elite Fangs is good. Improved Phoenix is good. Heavy armor, not bad. I get some Elite Fangs. And again, I know this enemy has lots of steel balls in front. Elite Fangs will be able to resist them. And I give him the shield unit. And I give him the shield unit for a reason. If the enemy drops a missile on them, the shield will eat up the missile. The shield option on the Fang will absorb at least 1 point of damage from anything. So something like a missile, like that missile, gets absorbed by the shield. Now the enemy counters me by putting an aggressive overlord, and I have nothing that kills the overlord. Luckily for me, I have that flanking crawler unit, and gives me some time to deal with the overlord and the rest of the units. And then I notice, oh boy, left side also has an overlord, and I have nothing that's really shooting against this overlord. I didn't notice this overlord immediately to the left, so I'm thinking, I don't think it's placed as aggressively as the right side overlord. This is going to be a loss for me, but that's fine. This is my first loss. Losses happen. And I'm already thinking in my head, how do I counter this? How do I turn this L to a W, right? Redeployment's nice. Junior manufacturer's okay. I don't like the other two. I decide to get melting points. Now, again, I've always say you need to support these units, overlords especially. The overlord on the right hand side is completely unprotected. Some extra clear, and again, I don't want to have this melting point unprotected, so I'm going to use this arc light as like a shield. Now, the left melting overlord for the enemy, his right, my left, is supported, right? The right one's placed very aggressively, is not supported at all. There's no friendly units nearby. That arc light is meant to die. That's fine. And it lets my, protects my melting point close enough to absorb a hit or two and lock on and kill it. So right side's doing well. Again, the enemy did not even get the tower. Did not do nothing to protect the tower. And I remember too, this person was pending into MMR, so it's a new person probably. Left side's suffering a little bit more than the right side. I'm going to lose the tower on the left side, so if I survive this, I'm going to have to do something about the left side. My right side eventually falters because they're being overwhelmed. Barrier, photon mission, barrier, all good choices. I actually decided to go for photon emission. And the reason why is because my melting points are in positions where they're not in great positions to be good barrier people. And I see here that the problems I'm having is multiple units again. So I get the special ability that gets me 5 beams, decreases the range, but then I also get the other ability to increase the range, which gives them slightly better range, but they would have even more range. And then previously I picked up the redeployment. So I got the redeployment and changed the location of the melting point to be a little closer, more aggressive. And the person responds by putting an extra overlord and purchases a barrier, but has no giant units to put that barrier on. Big mistake for the person, wasted money. So far, I see no additional units on the left side. So the right side, which has been winning, the enemy reinforced. The left side has the reinforcement. I put an extra melting point in the middle left. I did give the right side the photon mission, which is really helping the melting point. I destroyed both overlords. And because of the multiple beams, I'm able to lock onto the overlord to the left and attack the units to the right and destroy the shields. Now the right side shield's going to be failing. This looks like a win. And because he was so low on points, this is a win-win. Have a great day, folks. I hope you enjoyed my matches and my insight into the game. It's that time of the video where I'd say adios. Thank you for watching. And if you're hearing this, I really like to say thank you for staying at least this long or skipping to the end. I really appreciate it. Better yet, the YouTube gods seem to enjoy it. Please like, subscribe, click on the bell icon to get notification alerts. It really does help content creators like myself. I need the help. If you have any suggestions about my YouTube content or my channel or about this video, I'd love to hear it. Please leave a comment. Regardless, I'd like to thank you for watching. Stay safe, be entertained, enjoy life, and until next time, adios, goodbye. Hope your RNG is better than mine. Thank you.
All hands, initiate shutdown sequence.